The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, good morning, everyone. Steve Murray here with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. We've got a great webinar in store for you today. I don't know that we've done this one yet, so brand new content for you. We're going to talk a little bit about growing your business using radio and how we've got a program set up to make it easy and efficient and as economical as possible. And it's kind of a full turnkey approach. So I think you're going to enjoy today's webinar, and we're going to hear, of course, from Dave Pimper, who's participated in doing radio at some level for almost 25, 30 years now. So it's great to have somebody that's got some experience and learn a little bit more about the opportunities that present themselves around radio right now in the marketplace. So it's going to be a great webinar. A couple things I'm going to hit on before we go. First, there are going to be a couple polls that pop up. We always do. If you have interest, hit yes. If you don't have interest, hit no. And I would appreciate it if we would do it quickly so that we can keep the webinar kind of moving along apace for everybody. When you check yes or no, you're letting us know that you do have interest or you don't. If you do have interest, you're not making any commitments, anything. You're just letting us know that you might like to hear more about it. We'll follow up from there either via email or with a phone call. So we certainly appreciate that. Also, if you have questions, which I'm guessing that many of you will today since we've got kind of new subject matter, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in, respond, and we'll respond just as quickly as we can. So a couple things. My name again is Steve Murray. I'm the Executive Vice President here, and part of what I do is try and make sure that we have great training and great opportunities to help you grow your business and have good training around that. And that's what our webinars are generally about. In this particular webinar, probably more than most, kind of centers around getting you in front of more prospects and helping you to grow your business by introducing your services to as many people as you can in the best manner possible and the most economical, efficient method as possible. So you're going to be exposed to some things here during the course of the event that I think you find useful and potentially something you want to incorporate in your practice. If that is the case, you can be assured that we'll get that in something put together for you that is put together as perfectly and as efficiently and using as little of your time to still create a quality event for you. And we've got a great radio buyer as well that can get the time, so and get just the right time for you in the stations near you. So yeah, good stuff here coming today from Dave Pimper. So before we get started on that, I just want to make sure, I know we've got a lot of folks on with us today that may not necessarily be familiar with everything that we do here at IAMS. So I'm going to run through some programs here really quickly. The first, of course, referred producer program. Anytime that you talk to someone that you think might benefit from what we do here at IAMS in terms of training, products, service, incentives, and you refer them to us, if they get appointed with us, we're going to get you out a little spiff for doing that. But as they do business with IAMS, you're going to see some nice bonuses from that, and that does not come out of your referee's pocket at all. You don't have any exposure that you have when you have sub-agents. It's just a little referral bonus that we pay you. It comes out of our advertising budget, and we pay it out to you as an appreciation for being kind enough to say something nice about IAMS to one of your colleagues. So we appreciate those referrals very much. Really is kind of based the way that we built IAMS for the last 32, 33 years now is from the referrals of folks just like yourself. So we certainly appreciate that. One of our programs is a marketing reimbursement program that many of our guys use. Pretty simple. When you do business, we put money in your marketing reimbursement program. You do sales and marketing initiatives that cost some money. We're going to match your spend dollar for dollar on that. So we'd love to help you. The person that handles that internally is our accounting department, and that's headed up by Chris Vermel. If you needed information on where your marketing reimbursement levels might be with us right now, just email chris@iamsinc.com, or better yet, give us a call and ask for Chris. New producer builders. So there's a lot of things that we do to kind of help new folks that maybe are just joining our firm to get comfortable, walking them through our services and all the features and creative services we can make available to them. But the new producer builders are one way that we kind of help you from a financial standpoint. It's, again, pretty simple. You can claim various levels of service at different levels, and all you got to do is let us know what you want. And for instance, if you don't see something on there that you're using to build your business, we'll certainly help you with that as well. So we're here to help you, and we kind of have a little bit of a lost leader out of the gate when you do your business with us. So whatever we can do to help you, we're glad to do it on those new producer builders. We've got great back office support here. Most of you folks that are on today with us are folks that have been with us a while and probably know that. We're probably among the best in our industry at supporting our agents as they do business. So you're going to find that when you do business with IAMS, every step of the way you're going to have some touches and some really good assistance to make sure that your business goes from that submission to commission process as quickly as possible. We've got a great team. Website, creative marketing solutions. What we do there is stellar. Whether you need a website, Facebook assistance, brochures, personalized for you, logo design, letterhead, we do all that for you, and a lot of it at no cost to you at all, and all of it at no more than our cost. So by all means, if we can help you with building your business using our creative team, we'd love to do that. Get with Jacob. Jacob and his team run that, and just if you want to email, it's jacob@iamsinc.com, or as I said before, better yet, just give us a call and ask for Jacob or anybody in the creative services department. Great website, a lot of stuff on our website. We're adding new things every day. The most recent addition has been on the support tab. You'll find the IAMS library, which has a huge store of everything that you need to help grow your business and ways that you can meet new folks, grow your business. And I would, if you haven't looked at that, I would take a minute, go into the website and have a peek. Just go to the IAMS.com, go to the support tab, and go down to the IAMS resource library. You'll find some great stuff there. Retirement Analyzer. If you've not used our Retirement Analyzer or not talked to Marcus here in our office about the Retirement Analyzer and how it works, you can see from the slide there a lot of the benefits of working with the Retirement Analyzer, what it does for you. It's a really comprehensive kind of income and retirement planning tool that shows in very graphic form for your clients kind of where they're at now, where their shortfalls might be, and really helps you through that sales process, and it makes your relationship with the client more long-term, less transactional, more advice and information oriented, and kind of makes you the center of their financial plan, which is exactly where you want to be to get ongoing opportunities to do business with them year in and year out, and to get referrals. Makes you really referable to your client as well. So if you haven't used the Retirement Analyzer or looked at it, what we're doing right now is we're taking care of the cost of that for folks that do business with IAMS. So if you went out and tried to get that on your own, it's probably $70 to $80 a month deal. We're going to take care of that cost for you, and we're glad to let you take a peek at it on a free trial basis and see if it's something that fits for you. Maybe have Marcus work with you to go through a proposal or two. So if you're interested in the Retirement Analyzer, give Marcus a call. Marcus here at 1-800-255-5055. I'll send you that number in a chat message here shortly, just so that everybody has it handy. His email address is marcus@iamsinc.com, but you can ask any sales director, and they'll be glad to give you the straight skinny on it and put you in touch with Marcus to get you set up on a user. So take advantage of that if you haven't. IAMS Wealth Management. I don't know how many of you out there have your 65 or considering getting your 65 or wondering whether you should. If you're any of those people, you have your 65, maybe not happy with your RIA, thinking about getting your 65 and looking for the best assistance, you'll like what they do at IAMS Wealth to help you through that process, or wonder whether that might be something you want to do. If you're wondering what the benefits and drawbacks of that might be for your business, I would encourage you to give that team a call, or what you could do too, if you like. I'm going to throw a quick poll up here, I think. Yeah. And if you would like to hear from the boys over at IAMS Wealth Management about either how they can help you through that training process to get your 65, how they can save you money if you are 65 licensed in terms of the fees, or increase your payout from maybe what you currently do, or maybe making the process of doing business easier, with the RIA, I would suggest you put yes on that poll and let them give you a call. If you just have some questions about why that might make sense for your business right now, or whether it would make sense for your business, and you want to talk to somebody that works with, I mean, most of the folks that we've got in our RIA are people that have just gotten their Series 65 license within the last 2 or 3 years. Many of them really in response to the Department of Labor ruling that came out a couple, 3 years ago. And so they're pretty good at helping guys make that transition from, not knowing a lot about what a 65 can do for your business and incorporating that business and being a really useful part of your business. So if you have any interest in hearing from those guys over there, just put yes. It looks like many of you have already kindly voted on that. For those of you that have not, if for some reason you can't vote, give us a call. If you got a technical issue, give us a call at the office, and we'll be glad to put you in touch with IAMS Wealth at 800-255-5055. Love to chat with you about that. That being the case, I'm going to go ahead and close that poll down. And it looks like just a couple of you have not voted. Let us know how we can help you, and we will go ahead and get in touch with you quickly. I'm going to close that poll out, and let's get moving here. Okay. So we've got an Annuity Academy coming up next week. That one's down in Dallas. We're going to have one coming up here in Des Moines in May. We'll have another one coming up here in Omaha, probably midsummer, and then one coming up in the fall, most likely in Des Moines again. If you have interest in joining us for training, which we'll talk about radio, we'll talk about seminars, we'll talk about IAMS Wealth, we'll talk about different marketing and sales strategies to help you grow your business, and we'll talk about some product. We'll also talk about what's going on in the industry as a whole, threats and opportunities out there right now. If you have interest in joining us for an academy, what I'd like you to do is give me a call or send me an email. My number, of course, 800-255-5055. Just ask for Steve, or send me an email at steve@iamzinc.com. And what I will do if I hear from you is I'll get you out an agenda, and I will get you out a registration form. And the agenda will kind of give you the layout of what we do on an hourly basis, an hour by hour, so you can see if that might be a good fit for you. And the registration is just simply you saying, hey, I'm interested enough that I want you to give me a call as these arise and see if it might be a good fit for me, fit into my schedule. And if it does, we'll get you in. We do take care of your expenses associated with our academy, so your travel, hotel, meals, refreshments while you're there. We're going to take care of all of that. Your commitment to the process is that you will be out of your office for 3 days. So they're usually Wednesday through Thursday. We fly you in on Wednesday, fly you out on Friday, and so it's going to be a full-on lot of information in a really relatively short period of time. It'll just be crammed in there. So if you have interest, give me a call here at the office, or just shoot me a quick email. It's 800-255-5055, steve@iamzinc.com, and I'll get you out a sample agenda, and a registration form. We're going to be down in Naples at the Ritz-Carlton here very shortly now, August 25th through the 29th. We're going to be on a beautiful sunny beach in one of the most enjoyable and beautiful areas of Florida. A lot to do, a lot to see, a lot to buy, a lot to sell, lots of things going on down in the Naples area for sure. And we'd love to have you join us. That will be our large convention, which we do one every 18 months in a nice location. There'll be plenty of time to socialize and have some fun. And there'll also be a little bit of opportunity to learn a little bit more if you want to. We'll have probably one meeting, and we'll do some golf for sure. We'll spend some time on the beach and take advantage of all that Naples has to offer. We'd love to have you join us. You can see it doesn't take a lot to qualify. It takes $3 million of annuity premium, 1.5 of MedSup premium, 2.2 of SPL, 250,000 of life target, 600,000 long-term care. Any combination of anything that you do with IAMS in terms of sales is going to get you aboard to join us in Naples, and there's still plenty of time to get on board. So we got through the end of June to qualify. We'd love to have you join us. I know some of you on here have already qualified. There are some of you that are close to qualification. If you're wondering about what your standing is there, give your sales director a call, and they'll be glad to let you know where you stand towards getting you and your guests a beautiful stay at one of the top locations on the Florida Gulf Coast. So we'd love to have you down there. Okay, now we're going to hear from the coach, Dave Pimper. He's going to talk a little bit about what we need to do to get you on board on the radio. I think what you're going to find is that we can get it done for you and get it done very completely and at a very reasonable cost. So if you have some interest and want to commit to building your credibility, this is going to be a great webinar for you. I will ask along the way, if you have any questions, go ahead and get them typed in. Dave will get them answered as quickly as we can. I see we do have a couple of questions that have come up about our upcoming academies. We'll get those answered during the course of the event here with Dave. If you have any other questions that come up, type them in. We'll get them asked and answered as soon as possible. As I mentioned early on, Dave has got plenty of experience in radio. I've been doing it for probably 25 plus years at some level. More recently, he's been doing full-on radio show again, and he's got some great feedback for you on what we're finding out. And he's also got a full-on coaching and everything you need to know to get into radio. And it is turnkey. So we do the radio buy, we get you set up, we'll get you show notes and all. And Dave is going to go over that in detail for you as well. So looking forward to a great webinar. Please, as I mentioned, if you have any questions, type them in and we'll get them answered as quickly as possible. And without any further delay, I'm going to introduce the coach, Mr. Dave Pimper.
Thanks, Steve. Had a little exchange of headsets there. Thank you very much for being on the webinar today. This is exciting. This is a brand new marketing system for IAMS, Insurance Agency Marketing Services, and I'm really excited about this. Is the first webinar that we've had, and we're going to have many more to come and talking about it at our future Annuity Academies. But I'll tell you right now, radio, it's a very interesting medium. Not that it's better or worse than others, but there's no doubt about it that you have some celebrity status when you get on the radio. I've been in the business since 1981. You can kind of add that up. I'm going to be 64 next month, so I've been around the horn a little bit, and I'm a big marketer. I love seminars, still presenting seminars. Have presented 490 public seminars since the mid-'80s, and in the late 80s, or maybe it was around 1990 or so, I got started. I had done some radio ads, but I got with the local kind of smallish AM radio station in our town of 50,000. And the owner and I, every Saturday morning live, we'd go in and do a live radio show. And the interesting thing about that show, it got me very well known in my small town. But we did trivia and we handed out prizes from our vendors and different things. We had guest hosts. But one of the things that it wasn't, I just never even thought about at the time, is that it didn't have a real strong call to action to get that appointment. And in today's day and time, there's no doubt about it that we need appointments. We need appointments, and we need to get face to face. So the entire goal of me getting back into the radio show was to go in and to get more appointments. Now, for 14 years after the radio show of 11 years, then I did kind of Paul Harvey in the news and comment with a market report. And we did have some call to action, but when you're only on for 5 minutes or 4 minutes or even 3 minutes, and it was the drive time during the day, so it was a good time. It was usually around 5:15 or so. I did get some business from that, but we didn't call to have set specific appointments in our office. This is different. This is an hour radio show. Normally it's on one of the talk news stations of your city. There has to be enough population. So if you live in a population site that there's less than, say, 100,000 or 125,000, it's going to be pretty hard to do a radio show and have success from it. And that's why we want to do it, is to get in front of folks. But I will say this, is that if you have a little larger metropolitan area, It certainly goes in and is unique compared to some other times of marketing. So let's just talk about why radio, okay? Well, first of all, believe it or not, radio reaches more Americans each week than TV, smartphone, personal computers, TV connected devices. Yeah, than any other platform. Now, if you talk to the millennials, they don't listen to radio as much as the pre-retired or the retired, and that is the group. That's the crowd. That's the demographics that I'm looking for. The median age is 61. That's perfect. You're getting me right before retired. In fact, I'm going to talk about this fella that I talked to today, and actually, I'm going to show you the sheet that we get emailed from our appointment setting inbound call center, and they're very good at what they do. I had to go through a couple to get to them. I started this show called Retirement Boss Radio. Take charge of your money. That name is trademarked, which I trademarked it. Retirement Boss Radio, take charge of your money. And so mine is Retirement Boss Radio, take charge of your money. We've got another Orlando. We just started here a couple of weeks ago with one of our hosts, radio hosts, and he's Retirement Boss Radio and take charge of your money. So that is trademarked, which is kind of nice, and hopefully we'll have those all over the U.S. before we're done here. So this is a track. It's a system A through Z to follow, and it has been very successful. The median age is 61, so that's good. A little more male than female. The radio reaches an upscale listeners that have $75,000 or more of household income. 93% listen to the radio each week with an average of over 12 hours a week. How about that? How about those apples? Yeah. And what happens is different than seminar marketing. I am for seminar marketing. I did one 3 weeks ago, and I got one coming up, not next week, but the week after. And so what happens, I'm a seminar believer, but radio solidifies you as the expert. And so I love this. It says the listeners rely on their favorite stations and their radio host personality often as their primary source of information. Listen to this. They, the listener, trust the station and are highly engaged in the content. I had a fella ask me, heck, he was in on an appointment. We actually did business with him just last week. But he said, you know what? How do I know? I just heard you on the radio. How do I know what your background? I told him what is. He says, well, KFAB is the big 50,000 watt AM news talk station here in Omaha. And he said, well, if KFAB has you on there, I'm sure they vetted you. And I don't think the vetting process, even if they have one, is very strong. But that's the kind of the image of what of being on that major station does. If you have any question, certainly go in and type it in, and we will answer that at the end. So who's on AM radio? Well, during the week, and those shows are during the weekend, but during the week, you got syndicated hosts: Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck, Kim Commando, Dave Ramsey, all those big names. Now, during the weekend, there is some syndicated show hosts, but it's not the ones we talked about before usually. And then they're spotted in. There's a lot of, if you listen, you're going to hear local financial advisors or insurance agents who give a program. And if you go on that AM station, just listen between 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday and 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, and go on Sunday. Like my show's on Sunday at 12 o'clock. I get folks driving right from church, and they hardly ever listen to the full hour. In fact, the guy I talked to today, he said he was coming back from, I'm in Omaha, so Sioux Falls, South Dakota, on work, and he heard it on last Sunday, and I'm going to show you the sheet that came in because I talked with him. I'll tell you, and he's kind of the perfect kind of situation. I put it on even before I talked to him today. So yesterday I made up all of the kind of the slides and the information. I just made that up in the last couple days. So I actually met with that prospect this morning, and I'll explain exactly what happened there. But you know what? They're on, Rush Limbaugh, Kim Commando with computers, Dave Ramsey. They're on AM radio for a reason, for exposure. It gives them celebrity status. There's lead generation for them. Yeah. Rush, he sells some type of a tea product, and Dave Ramsey is selling his stuff to churches. And I mean, it really is a bottom line profit marketing business. And that's why we're rolling it out, to the sales force within IAMS. Now, I will say this, there's 4 or 5, but 3 or 4 big FMOs outside of IAMS now that does radio and has made really a centering goal of marketing around radio. And so what happens is that when I was looking for the content, I wanted a certain kind of content that really narrowed in and focused in around the pre-retired and retired. Social Security certainly is a draw for people. That's one of the reasons the guy came in today. And if you don't know Social Security, then I'm going to coach you up on that. Okay? And it should be something that you do know, because 96% of all Americans do get Social Security. Not 60% have annuities, not 6% have mutual funds, not 6% has real estate investments, but they have Social Security. Okay? If any questions, certainly go in and type them in, and we'll answer that for you. So why Retirement Boss Radio takes charge of your money? Well, the content, and I say fabulous, but the content's very, very good. It comes from our production company, and he writes content. Steve writes content every week. Now, what I do, I take that content and I just kind of polish it up, firm it up, put it into bullet points, make it easy so you're not reading it, but you're going from the content. With myself, and this is what most other FMOs do not have, if any have, but once you go in up and sign up for being a radio host, I'm going to coach you, and I'm going to coach you up. I'm going to go in and look at your kind of personality and how you come across. And way before we ever go in and have an agreement with the radio station in your local community, radio's not for everyone. I mean, there's certain people that probably are not going to be good on radio. But what I want you to do, I'm going to bring on people who really, really have the chance to be very good and to bring in a lot of leads from radio marketing. Okay? It's a turnkey system. So the neat thing here is you don't have to go into the studio. I had to go in the old days when I did mine live. I had to go in the studio. This is a recorded show. The hour is recorded, but it sounds very just like it's live. We say, let's open up the phone lines. And then I go through an offer. What the giveaway is and what the offer is for the income plan or the forensic fee analysis or the modern 401 rollover guide, or we've got a signed book of how to preserve wealth, how to create capital by preserving wealth. I mean, it's a book of a friend of mine, Mike Eicher, who's with Strategic Global. It's a separately count money management firm. Yeah, what happens is those offers bring in calls, and we're never going to mail information out. They have to come in for the appointment. And so, first of all, you can record from anywhere you want to. You order, it costs about $150, but you get a mic, you get earphones, and we get the software for you. And that hooks you up with our co-host, actually is down in North Carolina, but it sounds like they're right there with you. And that co-host, the one we used, the predecessor of QVC, he was one of the sales folks that were on there, and he is as good as they get. Steve is as good as they get, and he's with our production company. So he writes the show notes, I revise them, and then he is the co-host with you for the hour. But in that hour, there's also professional commercials, there's promos of yourself that promote you, offers for the appointments. And airtime is the most expensive expensive thing about this whole marketing endeavor. And if you go to your local station, your local 50,000 watt Rush Limbaugh station, and say, I want an hour on Saturday at 2 or Sunday at 12, I promise you, you're going to pay from 50% more probably than what you do with a media radio buyer. Ours, interesting enough, is down in the Southeast, and his family owns radio stations, and he decided that he wanted to be a radio time buyer. He has over 400 weekly shows that he's purchased each and every week for airtime, and he makes a percentage. That's how he makes his money. But the negotiation on that is, well, just to give you an idea, KFAB wanted, if I would go direct with them here locally out of Omaha, that AM Rush Limbaugh, I call it the Rush Limbaugh station, that would cost me about $1,600. And we started out at 800, I think, 850 maybe. And it's at 1,000 because after 6 months it went up. But you know what? That's a pretty expensive market. We don't have that's going to be the majority of your cost. There's some production cost and some telephone cost, but the cost on this is about the same. If you mail out 6,000 people, get 40 people to a dinner seminar, it's in the neighborhood of the same cost. So I always tell people it's probably going to run from $3,500 to $6,500, and I'm probably on the higher end here just because there's not a second strong station. But KFAB is a very, very good station. The inbound call setting setter is special. I'm averaging 3 appointments per week. So that's between 13 and 15 appointments per month. And they are set up by the appointment setting call center. Like, I normally get 4 or 5 calls and they set an average of 3. But this weekend there was 3 calls that came in and they set up all of them. In fact, I'm going to show you the sheet from the fellow that I just met with at 8:30 Central Time. Was about an hour and 5 or 10 minutes, and then I just scooted on over. Actually, I'm in IAMS' home office in West Omaha called Elkhorn, Nebraska. It's only 6 minutes away from my office in Omaha. But that call center, they're setting the appointment. Excuse me, they're setting the appointment. That's their goal. They have one and only one goal: to set the appointment and take information for us. The production company provides the co-host. The production company provides the show notes. They edit and mix and deliver your show to the radio station each and every week. It's professional. I mean, if you go on Retirement Boss Radio, just say podcast, you can hear, I've got it on, it's called Beancast. I've got all the shows. It's actually on iTunes right now also. I pay up a little bit to get on podcasts, a little bit more to get it on iTunes, but it reaches a lot of people. I talked about the negotiated airtime. Record the show on your own. You can do it in wherever your office, your house. You could have me. Now, I haven't done one of these yet, but I'm talking with a guy in California. He's a big hitter. I've known him for many, many years, and he said, Dave, you've got this down to science. He said, I want to have you record for me. And that's what we're working on right now. Remember, what I try to do is we're going to record it for you, and then, the promos are yours, all the lead generation go to you. And I'm going to work next week. I'm sure I will, I actually filled in, and it was just a fella signed up. We had to wait for 2 weeks until he came on board, but he had to buy they didn't have the bought time, but they didn't want it to go empty. So the media buyer called me and said, hey, can we just put your 2 shows on? And I got in Oregon. I said, why am I getting a sheet from Oregon from the call center? But one was just information they want on Social Security. With the other one, yeah, we're going to work with her rollover money. And I thought, I have to go get licensed in Oregon. That's what we're waiting for right now. but it's all a system, and it's important when you're on the radio. You're really kind of put to another level. That celebrity status really comes into being. You want to build your brand locally, and you want to fill your pipeline with weekly appointments, and that's exactly what the intention of this marketing program is. So one of the most important things is location when it comes to real estate. But you know what it is also very, very, very important in the radio business? It's the time slot you can get. And at what's the cost of that available time slot? So in your city, there may not be a time slot that's open. This fella in California, we tried to get one in Sacramento. They wanted too much money. Now they came down hundreds of dollars and make it much more competitive because they couldn't find someone to pay that kind of money for that 1 hour time slot. Well, now it's much more competitive. And the media buyer had worked with that radio station before. So what happens is that I say the monthly cost can be similar to that of a dinner seminar, but there's a big difference. It's how you're viewed by the public. Okay, so when you're doing seminar sales, and I'm not at all talking it down because I continue to kind of be a seminar junkie. What happens though is hosting your own radio show. It has, whether it's deserving or not, it has some type of star quality. Some type of star quality. So what happens is that, and I always say that star could be you. We just came back. You know what? Last Saturday, I went in and I had a fella that drove down 110, about an hour and 10 minutes from a little town outside of Fremont to the west. And he rolled his this is from radio. He rolled his 401k, and they also had a brokerage statement with another firm. It was about together was about 410 or 20,000. We rolled that over. And then I had talked twice with a fella. He actually was about 120 miles away. My mother lives in Kearney, Nebraska, which is about another 45 minutes past it, but it was on the way. And I said, I'm going out to Kearney. Let me go in and show this to you, present. And I knew that I wasn't going to close it, but I could present it in person. I didn't have to do it on the phone or through Skype. And so what happened was we're out there, and he was very impressed. His wife is going to look at him. And I'm sure I've got more than a 50-50 chance. That wasn't a big deal, 165,000. But you know what? Never would have gotten those two leads without Retirement Boss Radio, because they both came from radio. And I always ask him, what was it specifically that I said that had you call? And it varies throughout, but somewhere you sounded like a pretty honest fella. When you went through the offer, it sounded like there was no cost. I thought, let's take you up on that. I mean, this guy today, something on Social Security tripped his trigger. But we touch a lot of bases. We fish with a lot of lines and a lot of hooks. So here's the radio show appointment setting, the call center's email. And I took this right from our email. And this is the appointment. This is kind of exciting. This is the appointment that I had this morning. I had it at 8:30 Central Time. I got done about 20 to 10, maybe quarter to 10, and then I typed in a couple things and came on over to IAMS' home office to do the webinar. But see where it says the caller's first name? So there it is. I mean, I block it out so you can't, of course, don't know. It came in on the top there on the right on March the 3rd, the 19th at 1 p.m. That's right when my show got done, and they were on the line with him for 6 minutes. See? 3 of 19, 106. So he gave his telephone number. He said it was a sale. He gave his email. He didn't give his mailing address, which I got now. It came from KFAB Radio. That's the station that I'm on. They did schedule an appointment. The appointment at 3/5/19 today at 8:30 a.m. And then the comments from the inbound appointment setting call center. He is turning 59 soon, which is actually next month on April the 12th. Hasn't settled on someone yet. He's talking about a financial advisor. He has a 401k that is 7 figures, so I know it's $1 million or more, which is a lot. Believe me, it doesn't come in all the time. Also had questions about Social Security. So we talked for about an hour, 10 or 15, about an hour and 10 minutes. He actually was, because of the snowed roads up here, he was about 6 or 7 minutes late. Really nice fella. He's been single his entire life. He's got just over $1 million in his 401k, not a lot of other outside monies, and he wants to work until he's 63. Okay, so he's got 4 more years of work. Really doesn't have a lot of other monies to work with because the majority of his money's been saved in his 401k. Now, we talked about a lot of things, but I did ask him, and this is so important, if you're not using the in-service non-hardship withdrawal, asking that question, you're certainly leaving business on the table. But I said, do you have a 59.5 rule, an in-service non-hardship withdrawal on your 401k? He was pretty knowledgeable on his 401k. He said, yes, I do. And he said, I'm glad you brought that up because I kind of forgot about that. And so I told him, that if he liked what kind of our conversation, he was kind of feeling me out a little bit, want to know who I was. We had something in common. Midland College is in Fremont, Nebraska. That's 25 miles away. That's where my home office is, town of 26,000. That's where I grew up. That's where my office is, and I've had it for years and years. He went to school at Midland College, so we knew a lot of the same people. And that really did help. Doesn't happen all the time like that. But yeah, but I'm going to put him on a drip. I'll make sure and call him time to time. He knew that I was a Nebraska fan. Because I have a tailgate, and we're only about 2 blocks away from each other. And he lives in a condo on the 12th floor, just premier on 12th and O streets. And mine's on 10th and Q, my tailgate. So he said, hey, certainly, come on over. We'd love to have you. Just drop on in. So I knew that things went pretty well. Yeah. So what I would think what would happen off of this, I don't think that, normally my in-service non-hardship withdrawals after 59.5, so it's going to be in basically 7 months. I think it's in August or September that he'll be 59. But, I hope that we'll have a relationship by then that he'll take 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 and roll that from 401k. He did say that he doesn't have a very good guaranteed option, and he wants some money in guarantees. Well, it sets up beautifully because I certainly do a share of business, not the majority, but a share of business in fixed index annuities. But isn't that interesting? I mean, that's a very good prospecting lead, and it came from radio. And again, I knew I would have. I didn't know how it was going to go this morning when I was making this yesterday and the day before. But yeah, 3:30 and 19 at 107.16. That's when they basically got done with that call or did this sheet here. Yeah, very, very good prospect. Without radio, it never would have happened. Hosting your own show gives you some star quality. It really, really does. And as we're ending here, and I'm just kind of going to finish up, Steve is just going to be coming back into the room. But you know what? I say procrastination is my sin. It brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop. Tomorrow never comes, does it? It never comes. What happens is that if you heard something today and you can imagine yourself being on radio, having that exposure to your local community, building your brand. I'm averaging a little over 3 appointments per week. And I have gotten blank before right in the very beginning, but I've had as many as 5 appointments. And I'll tell you right now, it's a unique medium that most advisors, most agents don't take advantage of. A radio show, and what's interesting is when we record, we're actually recording 30 minutes. There's 12 and a half minutes of actual recording the first segment, 12 and a half minutes of actual recording the second segment. And then what happens is that they've got their ads, and there's the top of the hour and the bottom of the hour that it breaks off if it's Fox News or whoever, CNN, whoever it is, for the reporting. But what happens here is that you go in and you record for basically it's 25 minutes, but that's a 30-minute session. Then instead of recording the next 30 minutes, so it's a complete hour, we go in and we repeat an old second show. I go back 4 shows and I repeat that second show. And what it did is it cut our production in half. Now, the production company didn't want to do it. They're very good at what they do. They do a lot of those. They didn't want to go in and cut that in half because it's half their cost. but my media buyer did a lot of business with them. And we know we're going to have a lot of radio celebrities under the IAMS Retirement Boss Radio format. And they did that. So we saved quite a bit of money. In fact, we saved 50% by going in and having that second show as a repeat and recording. So we're going to go in, and I'm going to just say it. I'm going to say this quote, and then we're going to put up a poll. And on that poll, when it comes up, and then we'll talk a little bit through that, but that is with talking with me, not one of my associates, say for 25, 30 minutes and talking about radio, if it could be something that could be worthwhile as a lead generation source. But Al Jolson, the entertainer, says, I'd like to do radio just like pictures, leave the imperfect stuff on the cutting room floor. Well, you know what? With our radio program, you can, because even though it sounds live, it's pre-recorded at your convenience in your office with a co-host with great show notes. It has a lot going for it. It's a proven track record. And Steve's going to launch this poll. We have a lot of folks that are interested in radio. And I will say this, it's not for everyone, but it's like Cinderella. If that shoe fits, I will tell you right now, it's a very, very, very good fit. Do you have to have a bit of an energetic personality? Yeah, you do. But I'll tell you what happens is that there's a bit of a pay to play. I mean, whenever you do marketing, you want the consistency, and as I said, the cost is somewhere between $3,500 a month, and it could be up in huge markets. It could be up to $7,000 a month. So, but in huge markets, like if you're in the LA or Chicago, you're in the Dallas, you're in the New York, those markets you're gonna hear millions of people know about that station. You could be hearing 30, 40, 50,000 at one time, but we know how many people are listening to the show that time spot at any one time. And no doubt with myself, as I've done more and more, I've gotten better. And what happens is that you have to have some consistency to doing this. So I'm gonna shoot this over to Steve Murray. I would love to, if you're not interested, certainly just mark no. I'm not going to call you. Our office won't. But if you mark yes, I'm going to give you a call. We're going to sit down, and I'm going to let you know of what the positives, what the negatives. But remember this: we'd have to find the right station, and we have to find the right time slot. So that location with radio is so important. I'm going to scoot this back over to Steve Murray, and then we will finish up here shortly.
Thank you, Dave. Great stuff as always. Appreciate you sharing some of that. As you know, there are a few questions out there, and we'll try and get them asked and answered. And some of them I can help with a little bit. Question about how do we go about finding the radio time. So we've got a professional that's been in the business for, what, Dave, 15, 20 years himself?
Radio?
Yep.
25 years.
25 years. And his father, who he works with, has been in the radio buying time business.
I'm sorry. I thought you meant me.
Jared. Yep.
Yeah, that family's been in the business for 50 years.
50 years, yeah. So they've got great experience. And one thing we've learned about him for sure is that he is very, very efficient. So he's going to find the best spot. He's going to get you the best deal. He's going to work with the radio station to make sure that in your area, if there's anything to be gotten that is of extra benefit to you, maybe an extra commercial or two, or maybe some time with with the local radio host, which they did with Dave, to kind of get your celebrity status started. They do that as well. He's been really good about finding just the right stations for the folks. So that's all good stuff. A lot of people have questions about the pricing and the cost of it. I know Dave went over that, but I think that's a really good subject matter. If you want to have a conversation with Dave on a one-on-one, that's a really good subject matter for that, because then what he'll do is he'll get with Jared and he'll say, hey, I've got a guy in, Shamrock, Pennsylvania, and, what's the best radio station? What's the cost? And we can get you some information on that. It's possible that it may not be a go, but if it's because of your area, but maybe then we look at another area, or if it's not a go, at least you're working with people that, can that know the right answer all the time, because that team of folks is really experienced. Also, the show notes and training and everything that Dave does on that is just irreplaceable. There's nobody that's going to get you in radio in a more favorable opportunity. And so another question, so Dave can make available to you, if you'd like to hear a podcast or hear just a short segment or even a full segment of one of his radio shows, he could make that available to you so you can listen to it. And keep in mind that it would sound very, very similar for you. There's a co-host that knows exactly what he's doing. You'll have the show notes. There could potentially be a little bit of difference in the offers that you make, but that the quality of the broadcast is truly amazing. They do a great job with it, and they can make anybody sound pretty darn good. And if you've got a little spark in your voice, they can make you sound like a professional. So should be, like I said, probably as good an opportunity to get in radio as you could ever have presented to you. So really love the fact that you joined us here today. I don't see any other questions popping up that probably aren't best answered on a one-on-one, and I see from the people that had the questions that they've got calls set up with Dave, as most of you do. That's great. I'm glad that we have a lot of interest. If we can help in any way, or you have a question or two that maybe we can help with, we're glad to do that. You can give us a call at the office. We will get you immediately in contact with Dave. If you'd like to chat with Dave via email, we can make that happen for you as well. So there's a lot of ways to explore this opportunity if you think there might be something in it that makes sense for you. The first thing that we probably need to do is see what availability there is in your area, and that's a relatively quick thing that we can do for you. So if you want us to check that, we're glad to do that as well. This is an A to Z deal. As everything we do here at IAMS, we want to make sure that you have the best opportunity for success. So all the preparation is going to be first rate, as you know you're always going to get with Lazarus Coaching and Dave Pimper. So thank you for joining us today. If any other questions should arise, give us a call, 800-255-5055. If you'd like me to get you in touch with Dave, I'll be glad to do that. Give me a call or shoot me an email at steve@iamsinc.com. We'll be glad to shoot that right over to Dave and have him set up a call or answer your question, your one-on-one question that you might have. With that, I think that we've pretty much covered everything. As always, we appreciate the fact that you have taken some time out of your schedule to learn more about growing your business. You're exactly the people that we want to work with here at IAMS, people that are looking to be more successful and grow their business at a higher rate. So whatever we can do to help you, we're at your beck and call. Please don't hesitate to give us a ring at 800-255-5055. We'll be glad to help in any way that we can. Thank you today for joining us. We will have another educational webinar here next Tuesday, which I will not be aboard for, but of course the star of the program, Dave Pimper, will be. So count on joining us next Tuesday at 10. Thank you again for joining us today, and have a great finish to your sales week. Thank you, everybody.